If you're anything like me, you're probably sick to the back arse of people telling you about some fantastic American TV series they've gotten into, banging on and on about how Curb Your Feet Under Sopranos, or whatever, is such a searing work of bloody genius, yeah, that if you don't watch it, you might as well hurl yourself under the nearest bus for crimes against cultural sanity. Trouble is, who has the time to watch all these searing works of bloody genius? There's just too many of them. You'd die of old age first with your brittle, wizened, disgusting old person's fingers desperately trying to open that 250-episode box set. Fortunately, there is a simple solution. Only watch one of them. The best one, which is, without a shadow of a doubt, The Wire. On the face of it, The Wire is a drama about a perpetual war of attrition between police and drug dealers on the streets of Baltimore. But simply calling it a cop show is a bit like calling The Godfather a film about a few dodgy Italians.
The Wire isn't a simple good guys v bad guys caper. It expands beyond that, examining politics, institutions and society as a whole. It transcends its subject matter and indeed the confines of TV drama full stop to become an important, angry work of art. Yes, work of art, the televisual equivalent of an urgent epic novel.
All of which makes it sound as piss dull as medicine, which it absolutely isn't.
Yo, go, Doctor, go!
Now, it's hard to quickly sum up The Wire, and it's even harder to explain why it inspires such evangelical fervour amongst its fans. Unfortunately, that's exactly what I'm supposed to be doing in this programme. Mainly, however, I just want to persuade you to watch it because it's brilliant. So sod your whole, I don't care what The Wire is attitude. You will get into it or die trying.
Jungle made of concrete and bricks, they make vacant buildings. Where the fiends get sick, the streets is where we eat and sleeping. You either live or you die like a piece of shit. It's the Baltimore Zoo, animals run wild. You can put your guns up or you can get gunned down. Where you don't really want to be the talk of the town. Hey, yeah, it's the Color Wire, it's the Baltimore Zoo.
So we've established that I think The Wire is superb, but don't take my word for it. Look, I'm clearly an idiot. Instead, why don't you listen to somebody altogether more respectable, like him, or him, or him. He'll do, not him. Oh, let's start with him.
I'd say it's the best TV show I've ever seen.
The Wire is better than anything on television. It's this, you know, it's that simple.
Well, you know, it's the greatest TV show ever been made. I mean, that's all you have to say, really.
I heard about The Wire from an American musician friend who'd been watching the series in the States, and he sent me an email saying that it was the best thing he'd seen since Abigail's Party. And that was a really intriguing recommendation to me because he was talking about the history of television.
It's like an underrated masterpiece that everyone should see, and it's like a secret as well, because you sort of, you know, it's one of those things you want to tell people about it, but at the same time you sort of don't want it to be too popular because it's like your own secret thing.
I'm going to WA, that's Wireistas Anonymous. Hi, my name's Alexi and I'm addicted to The Wire.
Well, I think once you've become addicted to The Wire, lots of other TV programmes seem like pretty thin gruel. When CSI or whatever finds a bloke dead, killed with a golf ball, lying in a million golf balls, then you just say, okay, well, yes, I presume that would be hard to find out which golf ball. When I tell people how much I love The Wire, I've often been recommended The Shield, which is a very good and very dark series, but still conforms to that 1 hour episode where things get wrapped up at the end.
Shows like Law and Order, in a way, are kind of disturbing, especially the Special Victims Unit, because they take the most serious crimes and, you know, incest, rape and stuff, but they're still being written by Hollywood writers in a Hollywood format, so everything's tied up nicely after an hour. And I think, really, in a way, that's kind of wicked.
It seems to me that The Wire is the closest thing to a really great novel. There's a kind of novelistic density to the programme that I think must come from people used to working at that length and with that kind of sort of 400 or 500 page ambition. TV hasn't even attempted to do what The Wire attempts to do, and attempting even the attempt to do what The Wire is doing is a kind of seismic shift in television that It's great. It's really exciting to be around for it, you know. As good as Abigail's Party, or your money back.
The Wire also doubles as a kind of bipolar love letter to the city of Baltimore, so where better to discuss it than a boarded up, derelict old shell. Or we could just go to Baltimore.
What you know about Baltimore? What you know about Baltimore? Baltimore. What you know about Baltimore? What you know about...
So, welcome to Baltimore, or Willkommen aus in Baltimore if you're hearing in German. A 45-minute drive from Washington, D.C. Charm City, birthplace of the Star-Spangled Banner, home to the Baltimore Orioles and these delicious Chesapeake Bay crabs. All well and good, but this is the stuff of bumper stickers, not the Baltimore as exposed by The Wire. The Wire is concerned with the other Baltimore, the Baltimore with a murder rate 6 times that of New York. The Baltimore known with dark affection as Bodymore, Murderland. That's the Baltimore I'm going to see.
The Wire is firmly rooted in reality, so where better to start than talking to some real Baltimore residents, figures from both sides of the street. Jeff and James here grew up in the projects and, like many local characters, actually appear on the show.
So, tell me what The Wire is.
It's life. It's life. It's life.
But how realistic is it?
It's real true. It's real true. It's like, I can honestly say it's like 99.9%.
See this? This the kingpin, all right? And he the man. You get the other dude's king, you got the game.
Could you explain what the game is?
The game is just getting money. Get money, selling. Whatever your hustle is, that's what it is.
I mean, it's real easy just selling smack.
Smack, heroin. Got some dudes that's actually making $25,000, $30,000 a day.
So how do you get to be the king? It ain't like that. See, the king, stay the king, all right?
Then you got your homeboys is looking like, okay, getting a lot of money. We get ready to blow his head off.
So that's terrifying to me.
Yeah.
Is that how dangerous is it?
Yeah, really.
All right, what about them little bald-headed bitches right there? The pawns, man, in the game, they get capped quick. They be out the game early.
And this was a lifestyle that you were living, so, I mean, you were in the game. How did you get into it?
I needed stuff. I wanted to live like a rock star before it was my time. My parents couldn't afford it, so I'm gonna do what I do.
And what other options are there? I mean...
None. Because when you're not old enough to work, or you have a criminal record, like a felony or something, it's like, there's no other option.
As it stands now, we know that economics drives drugs. We need to find a more sound economic base for our young folk to participate in, find entry-level jobs, and give them an opportunity, a sense of hope, so they don't have to rely on the streets as their only means of support.
Mostly every cop that I know that's male, like all our girls. Like the drug dealers that got the girls, they like our girls. I mean, a cop would come because he like your girl with a fat ass and know you sell drugs and put all this effort into throwing you in jail just so he can get to her. I'm telling you serious shit.
Hey, Jimmy. Call Nadine and tell her I called one and I'm out on the street.
What do you think of the police on the show? There was one cop in season 4 who was going around sort of stealing stuff after kids.
Little you slinging?
No, sir, swear to God.
Hell, you ain't. How else you walking around with 200 in your pocket?
My foster mother gave me that to buy school clothes with.
Tell her to come down to the West and I'll give it back to her.
Yeah. That's like real life. Taking their money, beating them up, breaking their fingers.
Planting drugs on people.
That's not sportsmanlike.
No, it's not sportsmanlike.
Go ahead, play that.
We're the heavy guys. We're the guys that come in and throw their handcuffs on them. But we must do more than that. We can't arrest our way out of this problem. Young folk are not a threat. We have to treat them as if they are a viable part of our community. And one of the things we have to do is show the other side of policing, and that we are about prevention, not just suppression.
It's serious down here. It's hard down here. You can shoot and kill. I mean, I'm right here on this camera right now. I can get a beef with anybody behind this camera right now. Punch anybody in the mouth. They go get somebody. They'll come around the corner. I'm gonna be like a man. We gonna get the beef and the fussing. If stuff coming to the guns, he with my cousin. We gonna pull out the guns. We gonna get the blasting. Y'all gonna be like, well, y'all shouldn't be in it because y'all here filming this. But that's how things is down here. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be very polite. Social skills is mandatory. Mandatory.
Nah, man, no thanks.
But you ain't gotta do nothing for it.
No, thank you, man.
And tell us about some of the things you've seen.
Like kids, they coming out of the womb with guns, not bottles. They coming out with guns. What I mean by little kids is like between the ages of like 7 to like 15.
Yeah. With guns at 7.
Yeah, you say something to one of these little kids, is no, I'm gonna get my big brother, I'm gonna go get my aunt or my father, somebody is, I'm gonna get my gun.
What sort of guns are we talking about?
AK-47s, Uzis, 9s, Desert Eagles, 50 cals. It's like ridiculous.
But it seems quite tranquil to me sitting here now. We can hear birds chirping and everything. But I mean, it's not particularly safe around here.
It's 2 o'clock right now, and then it's fairly hot outside, so nobody really want to be out here. Come back at like maybe 6:30, 7 o'clock, you wouldn't even want to sit right here.
For decades now, poverty, crime and drugs have ravaged the Baltimore projects, leaving a forgotten generation in their wake. The Wire highlights these problems, but it refuses to offer any trite solutions to them. Coming up, my tour of Baltimore continues, and I talk to some of the talent involved in this unique and complex show. The Wire is an ensemble piece with an immense and varied cast, but the biggest character of all is the city it's set in. Baltimore is the kind of place that arouses strong emotions.
I mean, the first thing I heard when I arrived in the airport in BWI was some woman walking through the airport going, "Let's get the hell out of this place."
Baltimore is an underdog kind of city, you know, so it did actually remind me in a way of, you know, having come from the other side of the Atlantic, somewhere like Dublin or the way Dublin used to be.
Coming from East London, I could see the parallels. I was like, okay, I kind of get it.
By setting it in a place like that, you make it generic for all the other places like that. And there are a lot of places in the world that are trying to find their way.
Baltimore, in one respect, is all of America. When you look at The Wire from the beginning through the middle to the end, the issues that we are hitting on are issues that plague every inner city in America.
Speaking of issues, the police in The Wire are riddled with them. Take booze-liking Jimmy McNulty, an obsessive, well-intentioned yet self-destructive cop who really ought to arrest himself. He's a sort of one-man Pogues gig played by Yorkshire's own Dominic West.
This scene where McNulty takes 2 goes to smash up his car. It's a good scene. He's always been exactly that man, a man who will bang his head up against the wall until he feels that he's destroyed himself sufficiently for that day.
The job will not save you, Jimmy. It won't make you whole, it won't fill your ass up.
I don't know. A good case.
Ends. They all end.
Detective Lester Freeman is the yin to McNulty's yang, a pragmatic, methodical presence, unruffled, philosophical and perpetually suave. He's played by velvet-throated Clark Peters.
I think in one respect we're cut from the same cloth in that we both want to do the right thing. Except he'll screw it up at every turn, and I'll try to get it right.
We're good at this, Lester. In this town, we're as good as it gets.
Natural police.
Yes, natural police.
I think a lot of people like Lester, on both sides of the law. Yeah, police officers compliment Lester on doing the right thing and being the voice for those who want to do right. The gangsters say, man, you're just too cool, but we're going to figure out a way to get around it.
A chief figure on the other side of the law is drug lord Russell Stringer Bell, who you suspect would be equally at home on Wall Street as Crackpipe Crescent. He's played by Hackney-born Idris Elba.
Stringer Bell, Idris Elba, he's uncanny.
I need you to hit somebody. Murder ain't no thing. But this here's some assassination shit. I tell you, you getting somebody, you getting them. I ain't asking. Damn, Stringer, I gotta remind her who the you work for.
Stringer Bell is just an amazing businessman who's just figured a way to sell drugs in a way that no one had thought of before.
He's a drug dealer, but he goes to night school and learns about economics, and he's a businessman, you know?
He works with a very old friend who's, you know, a longtime partner who is completely different from him.
You need a dead exactly type basically to do some shit like that, not a rumble tumble like Slim.
Well,
He gotta go.
Ah, you a businessman. You want to handle it like that. You don't want to get all gangsta wild with it and shit, right?
Stringer Bell's story is about his transformation, or his want to transform.
When I was learning to drive and doing my driving test, I would just go into Stringer Bell mode, and it worked. I passed first time, thinking like Mr. Bell.
So, political cynicism, moral ambiguity and rich characterisation. By now you should have realised The Wire's just a little more nuanced than TJ Hooker. I mean, imagine the creator of that describing it like this.
It's a treatise on the end of the American Empire and who we are as a people, what we've come to, and why we can no longer solve or even seriously address our own problems.
David's crucial quality is his lack of sentimentality and his refusal to mythologize anybody.
Not only does it, you know, scrape beyond the surface, it sort of really digs to the bone of what, you know, Baltimore and the politics in Baltimore is about.
This show is like an incisive look into the workings of a hard-pressed American city. It examines various groups and elements within that city, like, say, the cops or those working in the drug trade, or teachers, or politicians, or teenagers, or the working class, or the starving class, and it shows how they, you know, they interact with each other, how they play off each other.
I think it took a couple of years before people realized that we were doing something different.
You are feeding off the violence and the despair of the drug trade. You're stealing from those who themselves are stealing the lifeblood from our city. You are a parasite who leeches off
just like you,
the culture of drugs. Excuse me? What?
I got the shotgun. Got the briefcase. It's on the game, though, right?
Well, I think one of the interesting things about The Wire is it's not really interested in traditional notions of morality at all. It's about institutions.
You see the police, and they're no better than the gangsters, the people they're chasing. Everyone is just trying to get by and do their job and do it to the best of their ability.
There's one particular scene when Bodie and McNulty are talking.
I've been out there since I was 13.
They are basically rival colleagues at work.
Bodie's actually being nostalgic about drug dealing and you know, it's not like it was, and there are some bad guys out there now, and I don't really understand the game anymore.
This game is rigged, man. We like them little bitches on the chessboard.
It's very sad because in any other walk of life, it would end with him saying, you know, I'm going to apply for something else, but he's a drug dealer, he is what he is.
You're a soldier, Bodie.
Whatever you are, whatever you commit to, it will somehow find a way to you.
My hood full of trouble, I'm good with my hustle. Make my money stretch like a muscle. I'm just a black man caught in the struggle. I'm just a black man caught in the struggle.
So you're thinking drugs.
In this town, what other crime is there?
There are events within The Wire kind of all the time that kind of mirror kind of life in Baltimore.
Basically, because what we're doing is just presenting life as it is.
We are constantly mangling up the historical reality of Baltimore's drug trade.
It's some fabricated names, but it's real. The kids over here kill each other. I know more about murder than you know about that camera.
If you'll get a character like Little Melvin, who is, you know, was once one of the most notorious criminals in the city, acts in the series, plays a character called a Deacon, who's like a churchman.
Deacon, how'd you get by my people?
You can't turn away church folk. They ain't done in these parts. I play a part of a deacon, which is basically what I do from day to day. It's not an act. It's easy for me to tell kids, you need to find something else to do. I've been you. They're gonna catch you. If they don't catch you, they're gonna bring it with them. They're gonna give you 30 to life. You're going to a penitentiary, hopefully not one that I've been to, but if you do, you're gonna meet some guys that's got triple life and 40. They kill people, and when they don't kill them, they rape them. You fresh meat. You the last guy on the compound. You ain't gonna like it here.
Melvin Williams, Little Melvin, probably sold more heroin in the history of the state of Maryland than any other single individual.
A couple of 100 million, maybe more. You figure out whether I'm successful or not.
You're not going to be the top of the tier. Most of the kids in this town are not making that kind of money. Very few will retire from the game that way with the money they came into. 99 times out of 10, you're probably going to do life in prison in the federal system.
You're talking about drugs. That's a force of nature. That's sweeping leaves on a windy day, whoever the hell you are.
I think the war on drugs in America, at least while it began as a campaign against dangerous narcotics, it has now morphed into a war against the underclass.
There's a wonderful scene where Herc and Carver are cruising through the neighborhood and everybody's gone to the East Side versus West Side annual basketball game.
West Baltimore's on vacation.
Because the streets are empty, Herc says, wow, maybe we won, you know, as if they'd actually won the drug war, you know.
Drugs are more pure than they've ever been. They're more plentiful. The violence is greater.
The drug war is lost. There's no drug war. Forget it. It's nonsense. It doesn't exist. It'll never be won the way they're fighting it.
You can't even call the shit a war. Why not? Wars end.
If it was any other war, we'd have abandoned it by now.
Unless we take the profit out, it's gonna go on and on and on, and my son is gonna be part of this drive-by and these candlelight vigils. It's never gonna change.
I don't think much is gonna change. If I did, I think the show would be a lot less dark.
Despite having critical praise flung at it from all directions, The Wire has never quite achieved the audience it deserves, possibly because we live in a cruel and godless universe in which you might as well not bother doing anything, even finish this bloody sentence.
We've treated television as if it's not a mass medium, and we have been rewarded in kind.
I guess, maybe The Wire's failed to achieve the status of, Desperate Housewives because people are stupid.
The real reason is because it's all black people.
Well, it does have a lot of black people in it, but it's a great show.
When 60 to 70% of your cast is African American, and you put that on the screen for America, there is a certain percentage of the population that is not going to pay attention.
I would imagine that the thing that is so glorious about The Wire is exactly the thing that stops it from being mainstream television. It's complex and it's authentic, which means that it doesn't compromise with its narrative ambitions.
The episodes are cumulative. They build towards a season conclusion, much as a book would. Things are set in motion that have great relevance, but you have to commit to the book.
There's possibly not much concession made to a casual viewer, and neither should there be, because, why should everything be easy and why should everything be spoon-fed, pre-chewed?
We were not a hit, but we're very proud of the story we told, and it's the only one we wanted to tell.
Alongside its established characters and storylines, each season of The Wire introduces a fresh theme. Season 4, for instance, focused on the school system. The 5th and final season is set to examine the role of us bastards, the media.
If we got anything right about depicting the problems of the American city and why we can't even attend to those problems or even address them honestly, if we got anything about it right, then the next natural question, and probably the only remaining question, is, are we genuinely ignorant of what the problems are, or are we paying attention to something else? Have we become just about the most distracted and inconsequential people ever to be called a superpower? And so that naturally leads you to want to examine the media in this city. There are some profoundly destructive things going on. Somebody's out there watching all that Paris Hilton shit,
Yeah, he's right, Look, you're so distracted, you're not even listening to what I'm saying. You're just looking at this generic urban collage. I better turn up in Vision and summarise things. So there you go. The Wire is a unique show, one that breaks all known rules of television, richly rewards your attention and makes you think while it does so. If you ask me, it's nothing less than your civic duty to tune in, and if you're not convinced, go and watch Celebrity Goose Wrestling on ITV6.
Top of the world. We from the land of piranhas. Cameras on the corner. Watch what you say. Your man's an informer. Watch who you play. Just spent one day with him, but you ain't know they had the plague in them. For all the spots, all the blocks.